And Pete, we joked about El Sackio, but Wolves obviously also in a similar position to West Ham, probably in a little bit more danger, and the fixtures are coming thick and fast for Gary O'Neill. Where does he stand with the Wolves fans, the Wolves boardroom, the Wolves locker room? Is Monday his last chance to save his job?
Well, yeah, it's a big game, as we've talked about Monday night. We saw the reaction from the Wolves fans during and after that defeat to Everton. They weren't very happy with Gary O'Neill. I've got a bit of sympathy for Gary O'Neill because he's been working with his hands tied behind his back in some respects at Wolves. They've had to sell their best players in the last few transfer windows. We saw Max Kilman sold to West Ham, who will come up against his old club next Monday. They never really replaced Kilman either, and he was a key figure in that team. They had to sell Pedro Neto to Chelsea. So yeah, it's been difficult for Gary O'Neill. I like him as a coach. I think he has got a lot of good attributes as well. So I think for him and Wolves, they look like they turned a corner a couple of weeks ago, as Paul mentioned earlier. They'd got a couple of good results against Southampton and Fulham, but now it's turned around again, and they've lost their last two to Bournemouth and Everton. It's probably been the manner of those defeats which are really setting the alarm bells ringing. It looks like the Wolves fans have had enough. Whether the Wolves owners will take into consideration the sort of feeling of the fans, that remains to be seen. Whether they want to sort of sack Gary O'Neill, having to pay him compensation as well, I don't think they'll be that keen in that either. But yeah, look, this game on Monday night, it looks like it's a managerial shootout between Gary O'Neill and Lopetegui to see who can keep their job. So looking at that way, it'll probably end up a draw.
But you're right. Listen, I'm a big advocate of Gary O'Neill. I like him. I think he's a good British young coach. But we're in a results business. I back him to the hilt. But now you can understand the Wolves fans' frustrations. I think they've given him as much backing as they can. I think they've had enough now, I really do. Look at the stats. 19th, 2 wins in 17 Premier League games. Fell off the wagon a little bit at the end of last season. They had a great start to the beginning of last season. They've had 2 wins in 17. You expend that out, 3 wins in 24. Not many managers survive that type of run. As much as you think he's a great coach, a good young manager, and a really likeable manager who holds himself really well press conferences when he talks to the press, they need results, and at some point the Wolves owners are going to go, we need to stay in the Premier League here. Here's one for you. They play West Ham on Monday night. 2 fixtures after that, Ipswich and Leicester. Massive games for Wolves. Massive 2 weeks for Wolves.
3 6-pointers in a row then for Wolves.
Yeah, early for the call them 6-pointers, but it really does feel that way, Pete. And is it also the Graham Potter derby? Is Graham Potter going to be the next Wolves manager if Gary O'Neill gets sacked and Lopetegui saves his job?
Well, I'm sure he'll be in the running. I think if the 2 jobs were offered to Graham Potter right now, he would probably choose the West Ham job. Obviously, I think the squad is better at West Ham. And you know what you get with West Ham. Obviously, it's a tough job because the fans have got huge expectations on what David Moyes done there, winning a European trophy. But whatever they say about the owners, they do back their managers, spent so heavily in the summer transfer window, and I'm sure if they do go for a new manager, they'll probably back the manager as well with signings either in the January window, or if the manager hangs on to the summer, in the summer window. So if you looked at it on paper, if Graham Potter had the option of choosing either West Ham or Wolves, I would imagine he would choose West Ham right now as well. But this all depends on what happens with Lopetegui and Gary O'Neill, and as I said, huge game for both their futures on Monday night, so we'll all be watching with beady eyes on it to see what does happen. But yeah, it's obviously difficult for these 2 managers going into that game, so much pressure and scrutiny on them, while Graham Potter, he's been spotted at the last 2 West Ham games, I think, as well, so that obviously sort of ramps up the noise around him.
You've been on Potter watch again, Pete.
Yeah, I've been on Graham Potter, not Harry Potter, Graham Potter this time. So yeah, I've been keeping an eye on him, and look, he's been doing the rounds in the media as well. It looks like he is ready to come back.
He was at the King Power on Tuesday when I was there. I was sat up in the gantry commentating on the game, looking down from my vantage point. And we see these managers, don't we? All of a sudden they turn up on Monday Night Football, bright white teeth, new tan, looking very smart, looking for a job. He's doing the rounds.
Oh yeah, he's definitely doing the media rounds, and that's given all the signals that he is ready to come back into management. And I'm sure Graham Potter will be high up in the list of West Ham and Wolves if they do need to bring in a new manager.